Welcome, students. Today we will be looking at another chapter in geography, that is, chapter number 5, Temperature, presented by Miss Gracianne Mesquita. In the previous chapter, we looked at the meaning of weather and climate and the different elements of weather. The images used in this video are taken from the internet. Our learning objectives for today will be meaning of temperature, distribution of temperature, range of temperature, greenhouse gases along with the greenhouse effect. The atmospheric conditions of a place at a given time keep changing. As these conditions are short-lived is what we call weather. For example, it was cold in the morning, it rained suddenly in the afternoon, cool breeze was blowing in the evening. The second thing is climate. The average weather condition of a place observed over a long period of time is the climate of that region. Climate is generally expressed as cool and dry, or hot and humid, or hot and dry. The weather changes quite often due to changes in temperature, winds, and humidity, etc. A sum total of all these elements define weather. Other elements of weather is temperature. The Earth's surface gets heat from the sun. The air close to the surface starts becoming hot, and later, one by one, different layers of air at higher levels receive heat. Therefore, as we move upward from sea level, the temperature of air decreases. The temperature also goes on decreasing from the equator towards both the poles. Well, what is temperature? Temperature is defined as a degree of hotness or coldness measured on a definite scale. Let me give you an example. When you get fever, you go visit a doctor, and the doctor tests your body temperature using a thermometer. In the same way, every body and every place has its own temperature. For example, the current temperature of Mumbai city is 28 degrees Celsius. Children, let us do an activity. Let us find out how the sun rays affects the atmospheric temperature of the earth. For this activity, you will need a torch and you will need two large white papers to check how the rays heat up our earth's surface. Take a torchlight and keep it still at one place. Take two large paper sheets large enough to accommodate its entire beam. Paste the papers on two flat boards. Hold the board perpendicular to the beam. Draw the outline of the area lit up by the beam and name that paper A. Now use the other paper, hold it in such a way that it makes an angle of 120 degree with the beam. Draw the outline of the area occupied by the beam and name the paper B. Let us observe the differences between paper A and paper B. On which paper does the beam occupy a larger area? As you can see that paper B occupies larger area of the beam. On which paper is the area smaller? It is smaller on paper A. Now change the angle between the beam of light and the paper. Observe the changes that occupy in the area by the beam of the light. We already observed the differences, children. What is the relation between angle of the paper and the area occupied by the beam? The angle in paper A is 90 degrees, hence the area occupied by the beam is smaller. Whereas in paper B, the angle is 120 degrees and it's slanted. Hence the area occupied by the beam is much more larger. The sun rays coming to the earth travel in straight line. However, as the earth is spherical in shape, that is round in shape, these rays are not perpendicular to all the parts of the earth's surface. In some parts they are perpendicular, whereas in other parts they are slanting. The part where the rays occupy lesser area receive bright sunshine and greater heat. Hence, the surface there gets heated more and the air becomes hotter. The slant rays occupy a larger area. In this area, the sunlight appears less bright and there is less heat. Hence, the surface there of that place gets less heated and the air too is less hot. Children, as you have seen that the rays from the sun falling on the earth are straight and parallel to each other. We also know that the shape of the earth is round and it has a curved surface. That is why they occupy a larger or smaller area. This leads to unequal distribution of the heat received from the sun, resulting in decreasing temperature from the equator to the north and south poles. Based on this distribution of temperature, the earth can be divided into torrid, temperate and frigid zones, or tropical, temperate and polar regions. Temperature differs from one part of the world to the other. The earth can generally be divided into three broad temperature zones, that is, the torrid zone, the temperate zone, and the frigid zone. The torrid zone is the tropical region. The temperature remains high. Sun is directly overhead at least once during the year. The tropics are regions of the earth that lie roughly in the middle of the globe. It includes the equator, parts of North America, South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. The tropics are warm all year, averaging to 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. The temperate zones are the mid-latitudinal zones where the temperature is moderate. There are two temperate areas, that is north and south. The temperate zone mainly lies between the tropics and the polar regions. The temperate zone include the continental US, most of Canada and Europe, Central Asia, southern South America, and southern Australia. It generally has 4 different seasons such as spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The next zone is the frigid zone. The two frigid zones or polar region experience the midnight sun and the polar night for the part of the year. The frigid zone in the northern hemisphere lies between Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and in the southern hemisphere between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. In summer, the temperature varies from 3 degrees to 12 degrees, that is very low. This is the coldest area on the surface of the earth and covered with snow. There are factors also which influence the distribution of temperature. The main factor is known as the parallels of latitude. Well, the circles created at some angular distance from the center of the earth and are parallel to each other are called as parallels of latitudes. The values of parallels are angular measures expressed in degrees. The next factor is the nearness to the sea, which means the distance of the sea close to the land surface. And the other factor is continentality, which means the difference between the temperatures occur between land and the sea. The other factors influencing the distribution of temperature are height above the mean sea level, that is the features of the surface, the nature of the landscape, also known as the physical setup, as well as one major factor affecting the distribution of temperature of earth is the distribution of land and oceans. Since there is more land in northern hemisphere and more waters in the southern hemisphere, there is big difference between specific heat of land and water. The loss of heat from the continents is bigger than the oceans. The continents get heated faster and get cooled faster in comparison to the oceans. This is the reason that temperatures of the oceans are moderate while that of the continents is extreme. The moderating effect on temperature of the land is due to something known as the maritime influence. The increasing effect on temperature of the land at interior of the continentals is called as continental influence. Now, other than these factors, there are like cloud covers, winds, vegetation cover, urbanization, industrialization, etc. Well, children, let's do an activity. This activity will help us understand the difference in the heating and cooling of land and water. For this activity, we will require 2 pots of the same size and to fill them with water equally. Take 2 pots of the same size and fill them with water equally. At sunrise, keep one of the pots inside the house and the other one outside. See that it remains in the sun all the time. In the afternoon, walk barefoot on the floor inside the house and feel the temperature of the floor. Feel the temperature of the water in the pot inside. Perform the same activity outside the house and get the feel of the temperature of land and the water kept in the sun. Write down your observations about the temperatures of land and water. The observations are as follows. We understand that the land cools earlier than the water. Land gets heated faster and also cools down faster. But the other way around, the water kept outside in the sun is still warm. Water gets heated slowly and also cools down in a slow manner. Also remember, we think that the air gets heated due to the sun rays, and because of the hot air, the land and the water get heated. But in reality, what happens is first the land and water get heated due to sun rays. Later, they radiate that into the atmosphere. The heat that they have absorbed is absorbed in the air. As a result, the layer of air close to the surface gets heated. The heat gets transferred vertically upwards in the air. Hence, air closer to the surface of the land or water is hotter, and as one moves higher up from the surface, the temperature of air decreases. The temperature near the sea level is higher and it decreases in the mountain regions. Now you must have realized that the land cools down earlier than water, and also that the water kept outside in the sun is still warm. The air over the water gets heated slowly and also loses the heat in a slow manner. So, in the coastal areas as compared to the continental areas, the temperature of air is lower during the day but warmer at night. Contrary to this, the temperature of air in the continental areas is higher during the daytime and lower at night. Now, what are coastal areas? Coastal areas are commonly defined as the areas in between land and sea, which includes large lakes as well. Continental areas are basically large areas of land which has no sea or lake surrounded near it. The water cycle has no starting point, but we will begin in the oceans, since that is where most of Earth's water exists. The sun, which drives the water cycle, heats water in the oceans. Some of it evaporates as vapor into the air. This vapor rises into the air where cooler temperatures cause it to condense into clouds or to form into clouds. Now we know in the coastal areas, because of the heating of water, water vapor gets mixed in the air. This water vapor holds the heat in the air. As a result, the air in the coastal area remains moist and warm. Conditions in the continental areas are quite the opposite. As water vapor is absent, the air remains dry. This leads to sharp differences in the day and night temperatures. The difference in the maximum and minimum temperatures of a day is called range of temperatures. As you understood that the difference in the day and night temperatures is less in the coastal areas and more in the continental areas, which is also known as the range of temperatures. One example of it is Mumbai temperatures are even, but at Nagpur they vary a lot, as Mumbai is a city based next to the sea, hence it falls under a coastal area. And as you know that Nagpur is a city having no inlands to the sea, hence it falls in the continental area. Now, in the coastal region of Konkan, the range of temperature is less, but in Vidarbha, the range of temperature is found to be higher. Therefore, coastal areas have an equable climate, whereas in continental areas, the climate is extreme. For example, the climate of Mumbai is equable, whereas in continental locations like Nagpur, it is extreme. The difference in the mean temperatures of summer and winter is called annual range of temperature. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the Earth's surface. When the sun's energy reaches the Earth's atmosphere, some of it is reflected back to space and the rest is absorbed and re-radiated by greenhouse gases. Some of the greenhouse gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, etc. Solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere. Some of this is reflected back into space, as you can see in this image. The rest of the sun's energy is absorbed by the land and the oceans, heating the Earth. Heat radiates from the Earth towards space. Some of this heat is trapped by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, keeping the Earth warm enough to sustain life. Human activities such as burning fossil fuels, agriculture, and land clearing are increasing the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere. This is trapping extra heat and causing the Earth's temperature to rise. Now, as we came to know that some gases in the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide and water vapor, can hold the heat within themselves for a long period of time, due to these gases, the temperature of air in the atmosphere increases. This increasing proportions of these gases in the atmosphere leads to climate change. Climate scientists believe that this is the reason for the increasing temperature of the Earth. The change in the climate is global. Hence, it is also known as global warming. This is called global rise in temperature. The gases due to which temperature increases are called greenhouse gases. Let's have a quick recap of these questions. How will the rays fall between 0 degree and 23 degree 30 minutes north and south? Between 0 degree and 23 degree north and south, the sun rays are perpendicular. As it affects this area, receives bright sunlight and greater heat. Therefore, this area is known as the torrid zone. How will the rays fall between 23 degrees and 66 degrees north and south? Between 23 degrees and 66 degrees north and south, the sun rays are slanting. As its effect, these areas receive less bright sunlight and less heat. Therefore, this area is also known as the temperate zone. The rays that fall between 66 degrees and 90 degrees north and south, now between 66 degrees and 90 degrees north and south, the sun rays are extremely slanting. As it affects, these areas receive extremely less bright sunlight and extremely less heat. Therefore, these areas are known as the frigid zones or the polar regions. Well, students, let's have a quick recap of what we learned today. We learned what is temperature. Well, temperature is a degree of hotness or coldness measured on a definite scale. We also looked at the distribution of temperature on the Earth's surface, which resulted in three different zones. First is the torrid zone, also known as the tropical zone. The second zone we looked at is the temperate zone. And the third zone is the frigid zone, which is also known as polar zone or polar region. We also saw the different factors influencing the distribution of temperature on the earth. The main factor is the parallels of latitudes, whereas the other factors are the nearness to the sea, continentality, the surface feature of the earth, the physical setup or physical feature of a land. The next thing we looked at is the range of temperature. We also understood what is the range of temperature. It is the difference of temperature in the coastal area and the continental area. Coastal area is the land close to the sea or ocean, and continental area is the land which is not surrounded by any water body. And the last thing we looked at is the greenhouse effect. We learned how the greenhouse gases are trapped in the Earth's atmosphere, which also affect the temperature of the Earth, that is, in heating the temperatures of the Earth. Thank you, students. Hope you enjoyed and understood this video.